Hello, my name is Anne Mattanley. I'd like to tell you today about my 3 pocketbooks that I have produced for family historians. What date book 1, what date book 2 and what route. Interest in family history research has been growing. It's a fascinating subject and you never know what you're going to dig up about your ancestors. What date book 1 lists all the archives in a genealogical timeline that you could wish to use in your English and Welsh research. It has the dates and where to find them. The same for What Date Book 2. What Route is more of a workshop book, telling you what archives are out there and advising what to do next. I've been a genealogist for 30 years and I love family history so much I've taught it at adult education since 1996 here in the southeast of England. It is from this teaching experience that I realised my students needed a list of archives that they could look at whilst they're doing their research. Even those of us that have been researching for some time may need a reminder of what archives are available. Even if you have done your research in the proper way, using births, marriages and deaths, starting with yourself, then your parents and then your grandparents, going back each generation, checking that wonderful data on the certificates and checking again on the census returns, and they can give you wonderful bits of information and surprises. Then even though you've gone through all of that with all your data, you can still come up against a brick wall. And this is where having a list of archives that you can refer to is very useful. Now, targeting the archives and their dates relevant to the research you're doing for one particular ancestor is essential. It can save you time and money, especially if you're researching online. There are millions of archives, wonderful archives online on the online site resources, and it's terrific. We can do research so much more quickly and start off so much easier than in the days when I was starting out. But you know, there are still millions of archives in the record offices, and my books show you what they are and their dates and where to find them. Book 1 is from the present day back to 1800. Book 2 is from 1851 back to 1650. Now, what route is more of a workshop, tells you what archives are out there, gives advice as where to go next. If you are researching online, you may be time restricted at the record offices and libraries, and also you may be restricted by the credit system. So it is essential that you know exactly what you're doing and you don't waste that time and money. Also, if you've taken that one day where you can go out and do that vital research in the record office, having a list of archives at your fingertips in your handbag or pocket, giving you advice as to what archives are available, you can research the record office's resources and not waste the day. But let me show you how these work. So these are the genealogical timeline charts. What Date Book 1 has the timeline at the top here from the present day back to 1800. All the archives listed down this side, and the archives shaded in grey, so to show you when they begin and when they end. Very easy to see. What Date Book 2 has the timeline from 1851 back to 1650. Again, with all the archives listed down this side. Relevant dates just popped in for you to look out for, and the archive shaded in grey. The arrows show that the archive goes beyond 1650, and the same here. So how do you use these timelines? When I'm at family history fairs or in my workshops, people come up to me and say, I'm stuck. And I say, what date are you stuck at? Because tell me the date you've got your brick wall and I'll show you what archives are available. So you choose your time, your date, and you go down your timeline. Every time you hit the grey area, you know you can see that archive. And so you can just go down and down, down, page after page. My students tick the archives that are relevant, that they can see, and you will be surprised just how many archives you can see it at any one time. And it might suggest an archive you haven't thought of before. Under the archives you will see some abbreviations which tell you where you can find that particular archive, if it exists. And also a number, a helpful hint number, which gives you a small paragraph about the archive you're looking at. These are not textbooks, but they're just aid memoirs, just to give you an idea of what you're going to look at. And here, for example, I've got the census dates and just little helpful hints that are relevant to that I found in my research. And the same here, they're called appendix numbers here on book 2, and then any sort of relevant remarks I've got. And at the top also, you see I've made a division here when we change from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar, which is important. Book 1, at the back you will see the GRO, the General Registrar's Office maps. When you're looking up for certificates, you want to know what area of the country that person is in, and the reference number will have a number like this, 10A here, 2C down there, so you can tell what part of the country they're in. We've also got on all the books back page of abbreviations and some important names and addresses and websites there, and how to begin, and little pointers, little helpful paragraphs. In book 2 I talk about the change, great change from the 1800s to the 1850s in legislation and the way people have behaved and how people moved around in during that time, and then there are some useful dates there. Now, those are book 1 and book 2 of what date. What route doesn't have a genealogical timeline. It's more like my workshops. I give you help as to how to find certain archives and also what they are and how I can possibly help you move on. Here we've got little charts here of your certificates, and I show you what you must look out for to note down the information, because it's amazing how much information is on the certificates that people don't look at. So that's what route. And if you want to use the books running on, you've got 2 CDs here. Book 1's got a CD and so has book 2, and you can have them running on your computer whilst you're doing online research. If you go to my website www.ancestral-roots.co.uk, you will see other items that I have of interest to family historians on it, including this quite inexpensive book about what your photographs could help you with your family history research, and how to date the photographs, how to find photographers which will help date the photographs, and how to find other photographic collections where you never know, you might find a picture of your ancestor. So if you wish to buy any of the books or any of the CDs, as I say, please go to www.ancestral-roots.co.uk. Thank you for listening. Happy hunting.